30 teams, 28 cities, 1 crown. This was my burden to bear, to name the best of the best. I found myself asking what really makes a great stadium. Is it the architecture, the history and the culture of the team, the amenities, or perhaps its legacy? I believe it might be all of these things. It was my duty to take the question, what is the best MLB stadium, and turn it on its head until it gives me an answer. This is what I found. Here are the top 10 stadiums of the MLB. This one was a tough one for me. I had to chase it in circles until I pinned it down at number 10. Dodger Stadium is absolutely iconic. With 56,000 seats, I imagine playoff games are incredible here. It is a great stadium in a unique setting, but there are a few boxes that it doesn't check for me. Most notable being located in the midst of an ocean of a parking lot. As the professional that I am, I put aside my distaste for massive parking lots and looked at this objectively. This stadium is one of the icons of the baseball world, and a visit here is a visit to remember, so it belongs on this list. This really is a great American ballpark. It has character, it has a view to the water, and a steamboat that sometimes shoots fire or fireworks out of the stacks. Seriously, how cool is that? With a park by the lake, walkable food and drink options, and a classic baseball feel. Simply a great all-around ballpark. With Mr. Red to top it all off, this one definitely belongs on the list. I really love a ballpark with personality, and Oriole Park at Camden Yards definitely has personality. The B&O Warehouse is an old historic train yard warehouse that provides an incredible backdrop for the stadium. When the stadium was built, the abandoned warehouse was incorporated into the park. The warehouse is now used by the ball club, and Utah Street connects the warehouse to the stadium. From the location in City Center to the exterior design, there is a lot to love about this ballpark, but the backdrop of the yards alone would be enough to earn it a spot. Great views, personality, a great location, stadium sellouts, and the crack of a wooden bat. A recipe for a great stadium. The season for the Padres did not go as most of us were expecting. However, the status of Petco Park is undeniable. There is not much more you could ask for in a stadium. To start with, there is a grass area in the park across the street from the outfield. In addition, I always appreciate a stadium that is located city center as it creates a more complete experience, meaning hotel rooms within walking distance, for traveling fans, lots of food options, and views that you would not have otherwise. However, one of the most interesting things about Petco Park is the Western Metal Supply Co. building. This is a historic building that the stadium was built around, and get this, the corner of the building is the foul pole for left field. A feature like that in a stadium like this will land you on the list of stadium greats. One of the newest stadiums earned a spot on this list. However, just being new will not get you into this exclusive group. You have to do more, and the Braves did just that. They built a great ballpark and a new district to complement it. The ballpark really just feels complete. A great exterior, solid seating arrangements, walkable shops, restaurants, and a hotel. They set out to build a complete ballpark experience, and they did just that. Truist Park is a great complex and is simply one of the best. Far from perfect, but at the same time, flawless. Full of character and personality, it just feels like old school baseball. Fenway Park is an icon in the baseball world that should be treasured. Yes, the seating arrangement looks like it was cut and glued together. There's a 37-foot wall in left field, also known as the Green Monster. It has a exterior that looks like a back alley in New York City, and it has several obstructed seats around the stadium. I can't believe you can actually pay for a seat behind a pole. But that's Fenway Park, and in its own way, it's perfect and shouldn't change. Don't change Fenway. As a kid, I remember going to the top of the St. Louis Arch and seeing the stadium where the Cardinals play. I never forgot that. I'm not sure if nostalgia plays a part in where this lands on this list, but I do know objectively Busch Stadium can stand on its own feet as one of the great stadiums of the MLB. There is essentially a street of baseball behind the outfield that I could talk about for a while, but I'll save you the time. I also cannot mention this stadium without talking about the view. Look at this, just fantastic. I do not love that a freeway runs right past the stadium, but I'll look past that because this stadium is special. I really have no complaints about the stadium. I think it is a great field, but it is more than that. I think the history of the Cardinals adds to the essence of the park. I realize you could say that about any franchise and it can be true, but the reason Busch Stadium is on this list is because it has all of the ingredients of a great stadium wrapped in a franchise that should be respected and appreciated by everyone, even if you're not a fan. The rooftop bleachers across the street is a nice touch as well. Before continuing the story of my quest to find the best of the best, I want to take a moment and share with you some MLB parks that are great, but do not quite check enough of the right boxes to make this list. Those being Progressive Field of the Cleveland Guardians, Target Field of the Minnesota Twins, great view by the way, LoanDepot Park of the Miami Marlins, and Nationals Park of the Washington Nationals. On my journey, I also uncovered some stadiums that have an outstanding feature, and although it was not enough to make it in this exclusive club, it is worth sharing. Starting with Citizens Bank Park of the Philadelphia Phillies for having an incredible view, PNC Park of the Pittsburgh Pirates for having perhaps the best view in the MLB, Coors Field of the Colorado Rockies for having incredible mountain sunsets, Comerica Park of the Detroit Tigers for having this incredible entrance. All of the tigers all around this entrance are simply brilliant. And the Rogers Center of the Toronto Blue Jays for having a hotel inside the park as well as a restaurant with incredible views. This is perfect. More of this in the MLB, please. Now, what happens when you combine a beautiful stadium with great views in a unique setting? Well, you end up with a top 3 MLB stadium. I really don't think they could have made Oracle Park better than it is. I mean, the Giants just have a great stadium. I love the style of the stadium. I love that it sits on the bay. I love the giant Coke bottle in left field. All of the evidence points to this being one of the best stadiums because it is. There's not much more to say. This is just a great place to watch baseball. I must admit, I was surprised at the capacity of this park. I always thought of Rogers Center in Toronto as a huge park and Oracle as a small park because of the cutoff in right field. The reality is they both have a capacity of 41,000. Does this matter? No. I just thought it was really interesting. I believe there are few stadiums in any sport that have the recognition that Wrigley Field has. This sign is an absolute icon of the baseball world. There is just so much to love about this stadium. Wrigley Rooftops is absolutely incredible. It is such a unique feature and no other stadium has rooftop seating on this level. I could talk about the walkable amenities, the public transit options, the iconic sign, or the nice views, but it is more than that. The stadium is more than another baseball stadium. It has character, it has history. Wrigley Field is undeniably American baseball. If Wrigley Field is American baseball, then what stadium could be better? What could be more iconic than the historic home of the Chicago Cubs? Well, what if it wasn't so much of a stadium as it was an idea? The home of baseball. A stadium that goes beyond baseball, that represents the aspirations, hopes, and dreams of young players from around the world. If Wrigley Field is American baseball, then Yankee Stadium is world baseball. I could talk about the exemplary design of the stadium, the flawless architecture, the ease of access to the stadium, or the amenities offered, but all of that is secondary. Everyone knows Yankee Stadium. They might have never been there. They might not know much about it or even what it looks like, but they know what it represents. They are familiar with the idea of Yankee Stadium because it is more than a stadium. It is a legacy. Well, that's my story. Will it keep me up at night knowing that I ruffled the feathers of many baseball fanatics? No. No, it won't. Because these are the facts, and it's my job as the baseball detective to present the facts.